Welcome to the Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lane. Gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and local advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now welcome your host, Ken Lane.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lane, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And autumn is here, fall is here. Finally, there's brisk. We're pulling out extra layers. It's what Arizona is just so famous for. Other parts of the country are getting bitterly cold. Here we get beautifully warm, and then at night it gets cold, and then it gets beautifully warm, and then it might be cold, beautifully, or just kind of, it's perfect. Bright sunny days. I was back in Cincinnati a couple of weeks ago, some business trip, and man, Ohio's great. Lots of Ohio folks are here, and but it was gray. It was just always gray. The fall colors are pretty, but it was just gray. The sky was gray. Everything was gray. Here, you come back here, we've got fall color, and the skies are beautiful, bright blue, sunny. You just feel better. I don't know. A corporate move took me to Sacramento. Lisa and I, our family, moved up to Northern California for a while. In Sacramento, there it's a river town. There's two rivers that go through. The Delta's right there. It's a magical place. You can go up into the mountains. You can go over to San Francisco. It's got everything. But in the winter, it was just foggy all the time, and it wore you down. I find that I need to see the sunshine. Maybe I'm just a Arizona boy, grew up here. You just kind of born and raised. And I need the sunshine, but I think you just feel better being outdoors in fresh air and just some bright sunny days, no matter how cold it gets. So anyway, right now, what you're finding, your fall garden, your autumn plants are showing off. I go, no, it's beautiful. Oh, look, I'm just so happy. I'm going to turn red, purple, yellow, gold, orange. And then they drop their leaves. So when the leaves have dropped, you can go ahead and rake those up. In fact, I'm thinking about a garden column right now, just what to do with fall colored leaves. How to actually turn them into like compost gold. But right now, really, it's do not leave the leaves over top of your gardens. They tend to suffocate. Though your plants need the warmth of the sun. They need to not be buried under all this leaf mold. They want to be exposed. Your bugs will hide underneath the leaves. Disease spores, so some powdery mildew and leaf spot, they kind of hide underneath all the leaves. So I tend to let them drop. I don't pick them up as they drop. I let them all get done. So the maples will completely get done dropping their leaves. Then I will go through and rake them up. And if they're not diseased or I had any issues with them, I'll kind of compost them. If they've been spotted or had any kind of issues, they had some aphids, it's something happening, I bag them up and I throw them away. They're in that week's refuge pickup. Trash guys are going to be happy with me with leaves or not happy. I don't know. I don't want them on my property, so I get them out of there. So I don't want to perpetuate issues next spring. But no matter what, whether they're diseased, whether they had bugs, whether they're healthy, don't leave them just laying on top of the lawn, laying on top of your flower beds, laying on top of your rose beds. Gather them up, rake them so that the air gets, the gardens get sunshine. Don't let the bugs hibernate underneath the leaf mold. Don't let spores sit there and mildew comes right back at you in like into February, March. So kind of just rake them up, get rid of them. And then you OCD folks, you're allowed to sort them out by colors. So the yellow ones over here, the red ones over there, the green ones, the brown ones over there. Just poke it at you. It is kind of fun to have leaves. They are artistic. You can have some really serious fun, like put them between wax paper. You can have fun grandkid projects. It's fun to sort them by size, by color. It's fun. Fall is beautiful. Your perennial gardens. So a lot of your flowers, your perennial flowers, wildflowers included, they hibernate underground. And so with that being said, they're going to be brown. So they turn color just like your trees and shrubs do. Just you don't see them as much because they're just, they're ankle high or knee high. So let them do their thing, let them turn brown, and then you can go ahead and cut them back. So there you can just take a weed whacker, a lawnmower, whatever. Is what I tend to do. If the perennial looks pretty, whether it's in bloom, in green or brown, listen, I'm thinking chrysanthemums. They're a beautiful plant. They've been in bloom for 2 months. And even when they turn brown in the autumn, which they're getting close, they're pretty. They just have good form. They're nice and balanced. They're pretty shape. I'll leave that right there, just intact. I'll let it go through fall. I'll put some pumpkins with it. Even when they're brown, they look like Thanksgiving dinner. I leave them out there. And then eventually what happens is the snows and the weather of winter kind of beats them up and they start to lay down and they look mangy. Or for me, I've got them in containers. And so I'm in the hot tub and the wind starts picking up the spent flowers and it blows in the hot tub. I'm going, okay, that's it. I'm not going to clean up after this. They get whacked back. So you don't feel pressure to cut things back, but eventually, as they start to fade and they hibernate underground, you can go ahead and at your leisure, cut them back to the ground. Well, Ken, that's a good idea. I'd love to do that. I'd love to clean things up. How far down should I go? As low as you can go. Lawnmower height. I mean, we're talking inches to the ground. Just cut them back. Just cut them right back. It's a huge fudge factor, error factor. You can't make a mistake. Just get rid of just clean it up at your leisure as soon as they're brown or straw colored. That would go for your native things like gaillardia or coat blanket flowers, another name that goes by. I would say your iris. They appreciate being cut back. And so the fresh new foliage comes up next spring. In fact, you might cut those things back. And what really benefits your flower gardens, they really like a 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch or compost, not manure. Manure is a bit harsh on things this time of year, especially on bulbs, tubers like iris, daffodils, tulips, that kind of stuff. They don't like manure, but compost they love. So you might put a 2 to 3 inch layer over across of that, and that'll ensure that the roots stay moist. The compost will break down and become available to the flowers. It ensures that freeze thaw cycle, the heaving of the soil. So during the day it warms up, in the evening it freezes, and so we call that the soil will heave. It actually gets real fluffy and light. Well, that actually destroys roots in your gardens. So you really don't want that. That 2 to 3 inch layer I use premium mulch. We make our own mulch here. It's organic. It's safe for your pets, the birds. It attracts worms. It's good stuff. I'll put a 2 to 3 inch layer over top of the gardens just to keep the weeds down, keep the moisture in, and keep the soil from heaving. So I would cut back those perennials, your yarrow, your echinaceas, your Mexican hats, your whatever it is. As they brown out, cut them back. I throw a 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch over top of it, and they are going to be happy. Next spring, they will come up with vigor, because you cared for them now. They realize that, and then they hibernate better. They come out of it next spring even stronger, bigger roots. And so people keep asking, when can I cut back? When can I prune, Ken? When can I prune? I never rush it. I mean, we enjoy the holidays, then we start cutting things back. Because we've been drinking too much eggnog. The hams and the turkeys are just, you just can't eat anymore. You put on your holiday weight and you just need to be outdoors. And so you power up the pruners and the cutters and the weed whackers, and you start doing it after the new year. But you can start earlier than that if you'd like. So some of you folks, it just really drives you crazy to see some spent flowers out there. Cut them back. Go for it. When they're brown, cut them back. You're not going to hurt them, because they've already hibernated underground. So they're just waiting it out down there. But keep that root healthy, and they'll start growing. Some of the things will start growing the 1st of January. We're talking mums, yarrows. They'll start taking off right away. Oops, sorry about that. My phone's going off. My bad. I should turn that. Folks, when you're tuned in to the Mountain Gardener, make sure you turn your phones off, including when you're the host going out into, I don't know if that came across the, the microphones. Phone just goes off. Oh, great. Be right back with more after this. Feed your plants now for bigger, brighter, better fruit in spring.
Waters 644 fruit tree food is safely organic with added calcium for sweeter fruit quality.
Far safer for your pets and birds than those chemical fertilizers the box store sells.
And it's kinder on the environment, too.
Simply sprinkle on the soil and water it in.
Bigger, brighter, and better fruits in spring.
Get yours today at Watters Garden Center in Prescott. Natural, safe, organic.
You've been listening to The Mountain Gardener with Ken Lane, owner of Watters Garden Center in Prescott. Join him every week for timely garden advice right for the gardens. Visit Ken where he can be found throughout the week at Watters Garden Center in Prescott. Listening to Ken Lane, The Mountain Gardener. Green thumbs learned while working in the Family Garden Center. Now welcome back to The Mountain Gardener.
Hey, and this is Ken and Lisa Watters Lane in the studios. Lisa comes each week with your garden question. Just what are other gardeners talking about? So Lisa comes and just kind of shares that with us. Welcome back to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yeah. So how's it been going out there at the garden center? Is it busy?
Slow.
What's slow? So it's. I mean, it's.
I feel like the Maytag repairman. Come talk to me. Come talk to me.
Well, it's kind of because we are seasonal, but
yeah,
the tomato gardeners, they're not there. The annual gardeners, it's just trees, house plants, getting gardens ready. We're selling lots of mulch and manures. Oh my gosh, tons of that. Lots of fertilizer, but not all the departments are powered up. So we're in between cycles for fruit trees. So that they'll be coming in usually January, February is when we start restocking for the spring fruit trees. So right now it's maples and evergreens. So you're running at like 30% levels just because all the inventory isn't there. So anyway, that's normal. That's the same.
And it's okay. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Been there and done that. But yeah, if you ever wanted to talk to a gardener,
this is the time.
Landscape professional, now is the time.
That's right.
We're looking for things to do.
So, and we can spend more time with you, which is great, especially if you need design ideas, that kind of stuff. I noticed a lot of people are coming in and they're not buying, they're having a house built.
Right.
And they're it's researching what they can do, when they can do it. And so they're doing their homework and you can tell they're chit-chatty. Some of them are chit-chatty. Some are like, I'm just looking, don't bother me.
Look at the hand.
There's two of those, but we weren't trying to sell you or do anything. We realize you're not ready for this stuff, but just trying to help. So anyway,
good time to ask questions and see what's out there.
So what are some of the questions that are being asked that are out there?
So Pam is in Prescott. She has a question. She has 3 5-year-old Austrian pines.
Okay.
And all 3, the needles are kind of yellowy, browning out towards the trunk center of the tree.
Okay.
She's noticed others in the neighborhood doing the same thing. She just wants to know, is this something going on? Is it a problem or concern, or is this natural for the time of year?
So whenever you see yellowing or discoloration on your plants, you should be worried. But not so much in the autumn. What happens in the autumn, so you're seeing a lot of fall color from your deciduous trees. Deciduous it loses their leaves. The evergreens, although they can also show some fall color. Some of them, broadleaf evergreens, actually turn from green to purples and grays and have tinges of yellow or orange or reds, like a nandina I'm thinking of, or heavenly bamboo.
Sure.
If it's out in full sun, this is an evergreen plant, but if it's out in full sun, it turns bright red. It doesn't lose its leaves. It holds that leaf. So it's evergreen or ever foliage. But it's not evergreen because it turns colors from green to red, then back from red to green. So you're seeing some of this. Well, some of your pine trees, your conifers, things that have needles for foliage, they also will have this coloration. And so mainly what happens is, let's say a Colorado spruce, or in this case, an Austrian pine or Scotch pine or fir, whatever it is, junipers, they flush this new growth in spring. And it looks vibrant, and we're so excited. And it announces spring, and it blocks out the neighbors and cuts the wind and does all the things we want evergreens to do. We're about to decorate them for holidays. Then the daylights get longer and longer, and so now it's doing the photosynthesis thing. It's growing lots of roots right afterwards. And now what's happening, the days are getting shorter, and that older growth that was there last year, the year before, since its youth, I mean, it's now shedding some of that. And what's happening is it put on a ring of wood. And so the bark has gotten thicker, the wood has gotten thicker, and the needles towards the inside where the thicker bark is, it starts to shed. Or you've had so much growth that now it's shedded. The inside is now shaded, just can't get enough sunlight. And so now as the days get shorter, it just naturally sheds. So on the inside of a conifer, all of them, you don't see foliage. You see bark, you see structure, you see branching, you see not foliage. And this is a natural occurrence for all conifers. And this is the time of year that it happens. So you'll see it now through the end of the year. This cycle of shedding some needles, they're kind of messy sometimes. It's not I would say be careful. I hate to say, oh no, it's all fine, they've got bark beetle or something, but if in doubt, take a picture, bring it in. But this is not concerning. It's pretty common to have your conifers shed some needles on the inside, towards the inside of the trunk area. If it's at the top or out on the outer edges, totally different game. That's serious. Come in and talk to us right away. You're about to lose your tree. But on the inside, it's not that big a deal. Just get a rake, clean things up. It'll be done in about 6 weeks, and all will be well.
All will be well.
All will be well. That's the main thing is fertilize.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize that enough. Fertilize. This is the most important. My poor Midwest folks, they just don't get it. I'm talking to Michigan, you folks in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio. You know who you are. You've got 8-foot frost line, and you just can't wrap your head around. We stop gardening. It's going to be nothing but ice, and there is no gardening to do. You can't fertilize. You can't prune now. You can't plant now. You can't, because I didn't do that back in the Midwest. Right. Well, Toto, you're not in Kansas anymore. You're out here in God's country where it's beautiful. That's why you've moved to the Sun Belt. It's so much nicer, and plants do keep using some. They slow down, but they still use some moisture, some food, some. So it's important to keep fertilizing. This is probably the most important fertilizing of the year for lilacs, forsythia, fruit trees, your evergreens. This is the one. And then keep watering a couple times a month, just sporadically.
By the end of the month, they should switch their watering over twice a month, or do it now?
I think as soon as the leaves have dropped off the plants, that's the plants will tell you.
But if it's an evergreen.
Well, if it's an evergreen, let the plants that lose their leaves tell you, because the conifers are doing the same thing. Yeah. That's a trick question.
Oh, sorry.
So anyway, the maples, they're starting to get done. Aspens are sort of done. The Bradford pears are just coming online. So they're looking spectacular. They are. So there's this progression, this seasonality, but definitely by the end of the month or middle of the month, you're back to a couple times a month. You're probably fine. If we get a rainstorm, you can cut one of those.
A good
snowstorm.
Rainstorm.
A good deep, at least an inch of moisture that delivers to our area. Then you could probably cut one of those out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is from Lindsay. Talk about seasonality. She has several blonde ambition grasses in her yard. And of course, right now they kind of have that fall look. So they're more straw-ish looking, especially blonde ambition. And she wants to know, should she cut back now or wait on those? So
blonde ambition, grama grass. So let the readers know, because she obviously knows and we know, but not everyone that's tuned in knows.
Right.
This is a native grass. It grows wild throughout the prairies areas, Prescott Valley, Chino, throughout the area. It's a short little grass, about knee high, has the cutest little seed head. They're just really robust, very tough, very drought hardy, very native.
Little eyelashes.
Like little eyelashes. That's a good way to describe it. And so we've got several in our yard. We're starting to see that straw color look to it. This goes for just about all grasses. Leave them alone. Don't prune them back. Don't try to, what we do with all of our grasses, and we've got a lot of different varieties, we leave that up there because they've got beautiful structure, even though they're no longer those beautiful blues or greens that grasses are famous for. Maybe even the plumes have started to fade or drop off, but you still get the kind of structure to it that's very interesting. And so we'll keep those up there. until we get a real heavy snow. And usually by the middle of January, February, you get some heavy snows. It starts to lay on them and then they fall over and then they don't look so good.
No.
Prune them back then. Don't be in a hurry to prune back your grasses. You could do it right now, it'd be perfectly fine. But why not enjoy the autumn colors that your grasses give you? Those plumes, that blonde ambition, that eyelash will stay on there for another 2 months easily. And if you look at the base of it, it's still green at the base. Yeah. It's still rooting. You can still plant a blonde ambition grasses now, and it would continue to root into the surrounding soil. So anyway, that's what I would say.
Okay.
Good questions this week.
Yeah.
Ken and Lisa Lane, the Mountain Gardeners. We'll be right back after this. Waters October companion plants that grow well together are blaze maples, spicy mums, glamour kale, and burning bush.
Waters compact burning bush is a neat, well-behaved shrub prized for its blazing red foliage in the fall.
Looks great when planted with autumn gold sumacs, lilacs, and gold euonymus.
At 6 foot, this bush makes a natural hedge that burns red through autumn, all for $49.
You'll find the showiest shrubs here at Waters Garden Center.
Siri, give me directions to Waters Garden.
If you enjoy this show and would like to hear more, please subscribe to The Mountain Gardener, wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And if you'd like even more garden tips, tricks, and helpful advice, please check out my website at wattersgardencenter.com for classes, videos, and more, or my online garden center at top10plants.com. Throughout the week, Lisa and I can be found here at Waters Garden Center in Prescott.
You're listening to Ken Lane, aka the Mountain Gardener. Ken can be found throughout the week in Prescott at Waters Garden Center. Listen each week as he answers timely garden questions unique to Mountain Gardener. You've been listening to the Mountain Gardener with local expert Ken Lane. Join the conversation every week as he answers timely garden questions. Email Ken a question directly from your phone to his desktop through the web at wattersgardencenter.com. That's Waters with 2 T's, gardencenter.com. Now welcome back your host, Ken Lane.
So plants are by no means done once they drop their leaves. They're still actively, they're growing slower. They're in stasis a bit, but the sap is still flowing. The roots are still growing. And so you need to care for those plants. So through winter, now through, let's say, March, you need to hydrate or irrigate or water your plants a couple times a month. If we get a heavy snow, I'm talking over 6 inches, like it's wet, maybe you could cut one of those out, but really you should be watering 2 times every month. Pick a nice day. You want to be out there watering by hand. Ken, I turned off the drip irrigation. Well, then break out the old-fashioned way. Take the hose out there and water things to keep them happy, especially new plants. If you put a brand new maple, brand new spruce, pine, fir, you're putting new aspens in, water those because the roots, they root a little bit. They haven't extended the roots dramatically. They'll do that next spring. That's why you put them in now, but you need to pamper them, encourage them to keep rooting, keep healthy. And so for my gardens, I tend to water them. I actually plant quite a bit in the autumn through, you got easily can plant now through till past Thanksgiving, realistically. I mean, easily, and have very healthy plants. Evergreens, even farther, even more than that. You can go to the end of the year. And so it's a good time, but you need to water those plants to keep them healthy. That's the secret. That's the insider tip. If you just put them in the ground, water them once, and then we get no moisture for like 3 months in winter, which is very possible. Your plants they'll probably be okay, but they're going to have some tip burn, some things can happen. Why not just hydrate things? My container garden, so I put quite a bit of pansies, kale, spinach, broccoli. I just love broccoli, fresh broccoli for Christmas dinner. You can plant that and actually harvest that easily. They grow really well. They love these winter vegetables, love to grow because of the bright days, and then they'll take the cold nights and they keep going. So pansies, viola, snapdragons, they look fantastic. So I've put quite a few in my containers, but if I see a cold snap coming our way, which eventually it'll happen, I'm going to go through and I'll hydrate. I'll hand water my containers to keep them going. A hydrated plant goes through the cold easily. A dry plant does not. And so plants have a antifreeze in them, and water is what keeps that antifreeze flowing up and down the stems of that plant, whether it's a tree, a shrub, or a flower. So to hydrate that keeps that antifreeze, that keeps them from being damaged, keeps them happy. The other one that will benefit greatly. So I've been talking to you for a month. You should fertilize everything. Mainly, I'm recommending, the only thing we really sell at the garden center is organic foods. I'm a strong organic guy. I think we're all drinking groundwater. I'm going to sell 5 truckloads of fertilizer in the Yavapai Central Highlands area. I have a responsibility to make sure I have the ability to poison us myself personally at the garden center. I'm just not going to do that. Synthetic fertilizers are just not good. They liquefy so quick, water hits them, they run downstream. Organics, don't do that. Organics break down slowly over a long period of time, which your plants love. They'd much rather have slow, steady nutrients at their root base than to be all at once, release some chemical, Scott's turf builder all at once, and then it's flushed out and they're left wanting, especially in winter. In fact, winter, if you're using sulfates like ammonium sulfate, it doesn't even come close to working in summer. It doesn't work. You need to switch over to organics, or there's some different types of fertilizers, and they don't teach you this stuff when you're walking down the box store aisle of confusion. But there are different types. The other thing synthetics do, they burn off all the good things in your soil. I mean, worms hate that stuff. Mycorrhizal colonies, the fungi, they don't like synthetic fertilizers, but they love organics. And so every time you water, we get some snow or some rain. If you're putting the fertilizers I've been recommending for a month, if you haven't fertilized yet, do it. It's super important. But every time water touches that, it'll release a little bit. And so take it up. Just because they don't have leaves does not mean they're not actually taking up nutrients or actually extending roots. They are. And so you can encourage that. They're taking up water. They are not truly dormant. We're not in the Midwest where you get frost line and it just the ice, the ground turns to ice. Here, that hardly ever happens. Yeah, at the highest elevations, maybe highest elevations, the White Mountains or Flagstaff, maybe, but even then it thaws for us. So here in the Central Highlands, at that 6,000 foot, 6,500 and below, it doesn't freeze. Or if it does, it's for a moment, then it's done. So the plants need you to hydrate and to feed them more than maybe other parts of the country. It's a big deal. So anyway, I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but got a lot more in store for you. Don't change that dial. I'll be right back right after this.
Prescott Blaze Maple is the fastest local tree with brilliant red foliage.
Prescott Blaze maples grow 3 feet each year. That's fast.
Prescott Blaze maples are perfect for patios or any place a shade tree is needed.
We have a limited number of huge, instant Prescott Blaze maples, but the $249 size is exceptionally nice.
The maples are brighter in Prescott at Watters Garden Center.
Or shop online at top10trees.com.
We believe in roses that smell like a rose at Watters Garden Center. The Mountain Gardener, your source for timely garden advice right for higher elevations. Guaranteed to make a difference in your yard this season. You're listening to The Mountain Gardener with local expert Ken Lane. Mountain gardening is very rewarding, with a few Ken's tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts sure to turn your thumbs even greener. Now welcome back to The Mountain Gardener.
All right, back with Lisa Waters Lane. We come and learn so much from this segment, her segment. She just shares what's going on in her gardens, what she's been doing, what other folks are talking about, just sharing insider tips that she shares. So you get 2 perspectives, not just me, the mountain gardener. So Lisa, the mountain gardeness, goddess.
Probably not.
Maybe the sacred. Sorry.
I was going to say, lightning bolt's going to come down.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome back to the studio.
Thank you.
What do you got for us this week? What are you thinking?
Well, so we did have our first frost.
Yep.
So I went through our yard and I pulled out our tomato plants.
Yeah, it was so sad. Pumpkins,
They
so
had
sad. Yep.
Yeah, pumpkin. I pulled out the
Peppers.
zinnias,
Yeah.
the peppers, the sweet potato vine, all those things that were looking so pretty just finally went, yeah, we're cold.
If it gets below 40, really 45, they're going, I'm not happy.
Right.
So they like it to be 100, not toward freezing, especially
So
cold and snow.
Right. So we have all these empty pots, which is kind of sad because you're still out there, even though it's fall,
It's not
winter.
It's happy to refresh and
Well, yeah.
redecorate.
But you hate to look, you've had all these beautiful pots going and now they're empty. So it's time to fill them with some stuff that can take our cold.
Decorate with corn stalks and what's Thanksgiving kind of stuff. Or I see you're pulling out some flowers.
I did. So we got a new shipment of pansies and violas in. So I wanted to bring that I thought a little more unusual color. So this one is Ultima Radiance Red.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So this is a pansy. I really like that color. So it's a yellow inside with a red outside. So it's a two-tone. Just really unusual color than you normally just see in your pan. You usually see the yellows, the blues, but I just thought this one was so pretty and so different.
It's a new, and it says this is a pansy or viola.
This one is a pansy, even though it's got a smaller head.
It's got a lot of heads. Probably has, I don't know, 20 flowers on there. One little 6-pack, lots of flowers.
Lots of flowers. So I just like the color. Really pretty to put with your put an evergreen shrub in there and put those around it.
Good idea.
It'd just be really pretty.
Alberta spruce, little tiny Christmas tree looking thing with these skirting around it. You'd have winter long color. And you gotta convince people.
I know.
They don't believe, so just share. They lost all their flowers to the cold and they're going, I'm going to plant these. I'm going to lose these too. The answer is
no, you're not.
These love the cold.
They love the cold. Yeah. So pansies and violas take our cold temperature. They can take snow sitting right on them and then be beautiful the next day when the snow melts off. Yeah. So it's definitely one you can plant now. It goes all the way through the season up until May-ish. Usually they don't like the heat so much.
Yeah.
But I've had them go all the way through May too.
We've actually have some coming back. They were more protected back in the back.
Yeah.
They're still going. It's been over a year. So they made it through. But most of them, we just tell you, they're not going to like summer. That's when you put your zinnias and your geraniums and your petunias.
And they're going to be happy.
Yeah, they are. So can I share something real quick just for folks that maybe don't know flower quality, side? How do you tell quality?
Yeah.
So obviously they're in bloom, they're actively growing, they're watered, they're not wimpy, laying over, those basically, but the size of the container they're grown in has a lot to do with it. The soil mix, how long you hold on to it and root it out so it's fully rooted. We're growing in 6-pack, but a 6-pack is not just a 6-pack. Now, for those that your grandparents always said, I only plant 6-packs, I want lots of them and they'll grow. Well, they were really tiny cells, and there were 6 of them. So there's 6 plants in this little pack, a 6-pack, but there's different sizes of cells. So we're growing an extra large cell. So the roots are larger, more established. This is critical for things that are cooler, or you're going into real extreme heat or real cold. The plants that have a bigger root actually perform better and grow better, get stronger, get fuller, have more flowers faster. Vegetables that have bigger roots, they're gonna produce stronger, faster, longer for you, especially when you have the temperature swings. It's the summer and the winter where they perform far better. So your 6-packs here at Watters Garden Center are better quality. That's what we're noted for. We're going, 6-pack's a 6-pack. That is not true. Well, they're cheaper over there. Well, yeah, it's because there's different qualities. So, so you got to know what you're planting, especially this time of year. If you want success, have a better plant and you'll have more success. Anyway, I go on my soapbox.
When you pull these out, they have a nice root to them.
Full.
It's not some dinky little root that's going to go, It's fully rooted out in there. So it's going to do well.
Whatever you do, stay away from pony pack. So there's one with 4 cells, itty bitty little tiny roots. those don't grow here. They're terrible. Yeah, I know you gardeners said, yeah, I planted one and it took me 3 months to get it to finally bloom.
Right.
But if you'd gone with a bigger 6-pack, it would have taken you 2 weeks and it would have been glorious. But anyway, so there's different qualities, and the size of the root is the start of, the soil is the start of the quality of the plant. Right. Anyway, go back to you. I'm done. I'm done.
Well, I'll show you. So this one's viola. This is a viola. I brought this one in too. There again, because of the color, it's kind of like a real soft denim blue color. Very, very pretty. To
describe it.
Yeah. So I thought it was very pretty. We also have the Johnny Jump Up ones, which are usually the two-tone, the purple and yellow, orange and purple, white and purple. Those are really pretty too. But this is an unusual color.
So we should show folks for the vlogs, if you tune in online where you're watching this, I don't know if I can get those in the camera. So the pansy's a little bit bigger flower.
Yeah.
That one, a little bit bigger flower, probably twice the size, 3 times the size of a viola. But a viola actually has more flowers. It makes up. And they're better at reseeding. Yes. So they'll come up other places. Right. They'll just seed themselves so well. So violas, or your grandparents called them Johnny Jump Ups, because they would just jump up out other parts of the yard. I don't know why they called them Johnny. We should research that.
That's a good question.
Plant trivia. I would call them Joan Jump Up or something else.
I'll have to research that.
Peter Pansy. I don't know. We're getting crazy.
You know what's funny is because I pulled all the tomatoes out, like we were saying, and underneath all those tomatoes, there were some little violas.
Oh, really?
They'd
reseeded from the pots last winter. Yeah, really? That's amazing.
They were just kind of hanging out there in the summertime, and now they're like, oh, yeah, I can do this.
I can see the sun. I will bloom more for you. You should mention, too, since you're doing flowers, what are some vegetables that are cool season, snow-loving vegetables that people can put edibles?
Most of those are your leafy. So your kale, cabbage, those kind of things. Your lettuces do really, really well. And you can start harvesting almost right away from those guys.
Yeah, they grow so fast. With this kind of weather, they grow so fast.
Yeah, so the more you harvest on them, the more they're going to grow.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of your herbs. You can still put herbs in. Sage, parsley, rosemary, thyme. Lavenders, you betcha. So you can put those things in now. Everybody goes, oh, and grow them in the window in a kitchen. I'm like, you can put them outside. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
So you can definitely.
In a container, just under that overhang by your front door, sunny southern exposure, they're going to grow like crazy. They'll be a weed. Right. They'll love that cold night, bright days. They'll produce really well. That's folks from the desert areas. They don't realize how to deal with 4 seasons. Right. So yes, you lost some plants. I don't know if you saw the basil vaporization. I mean, just instant gone. Yeah. But now you can do it. Now the sages look amazing. The mint looks really amazing. So.
And the other thing is, you can plant. Maybe you put some edible kale in. Put some violas and pansies around it too. You can actually eat your pansies and violas. A little salad with some color in there.
Yeah, it seems wrong. Eating flowers.
You can do
My head has a hard time wrapping around eating flowers.
I know.
Sniffing, smelling, touching.
But they're really pretty when you put them in your salad or put them as a little garnish.
Garnish, that's a good idea. I can do garnish.
You can do garnish.
I mean, everything tastes better with ranch dressing. Let's face it. So.
Definitely. So I'm basically saying, don't be afraid to mix a little bit of color in there with your winter veggies. Yeah, really nice.
Well, thank you for the winter tip on flowers. So they got some dead things, some space. You can still plant and have color blooming, especially close to the house, the windows where you're going to look outside, sipping tea, watching snow come down. These guys are going to go, look at me. I'm cold, but I'm blooming. So thank you, Lisa. Ken and Lisa Lane, the Mountain Gardeners. We'll be right back after this.
Waters companion plants that grow well together are blaze maple, burning bush, spicy mums, glamour kale, and red wall creeper.
Waters' red wall creeper is specially selected to dress up those miles of stockade fence.
A mountain vine with rich green foliage turns fire engine red through autumn.
Waters' native vines are just $49 and both deer and rabbit proof.
You'll find the showiest vines here at Watters Garden Center.
Google, give me directions to Watters Garden Center.
We believe your garden should be natural, safe, and organic at Watters Garden Center.
If you enjoy this show and would like to hear more, please subscribe to The Mountain Gardener, wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And if you'd like even more garden tips, tricks, and helpful advice, please check out my website at wattersgardencenteraz for classes, videos, and more, or my online garden center at top10plants.com. Throughout the week, Lisa and I can be found here at Watters Garden Center in Prescott.
Welcome to the Mountain Gardener with Ken Lane. Gardening in the mountains is different. Listen to Ken's tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts guaranteed to make your gardens more beautiful than ever this year. Now for better advice that works locally, welcome your host, Ken Lane.
So there are three main growing seasons. If you're into growing your own foods, vegetables, herbs, that kind of thing. So we are done with the summer vegetables, tomatoes, eggplants, cucumbers. They're not going to produce anymore unless you've got a greenhouse, and that's just cheating. We're growing outdoors in the landscape. That's the summer planting season. That's the main one that everyone knows. Everyone's growing a tomato, the number one plant grown in America, tomato. So they're frosting. They don't like cold. They're out of here. But there's a whole nother series, the cool season. Those are the summer plants or tropical plants. Then there's the cool season or the North Country type of plants. And Arizona's famous for our growing spinach, lettuce, broccoli, cauliflower, arugula, Swiss chard. There's a lot of them. Cauliflower. They actually grow. They need the cold. They need cold nights and bright days. That's what we have for them. And so they'll continue, growing with vigor. So there's three seasons. Really, March starts the growing season with the early spring season stuff. That's a cool season plants, just what I just mentioned. Lettuce, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, all those things. If it grows a leaf, that is going to be, you're harvesting the flower, let's say broccoli or cauliflower. Those are cool season plants. If you're harvesting the fruit off of the plant, that's tomatoes and pumpkins and squash and eggplants and cucumbers. Those are summer plants. They don't take frost. So they need to be past the frost season or past the last frost. For us, it's usually the first part of May here in Prescott, Arizona. For you, it might be April 20th. It could be May 15th. It just depends on your elevation. Really, it comes down to whether it's east, south, north, west facing. The sun in the early mornings makes more of a difference. But those are the differences. So early spring, March and April, you're planting cool season things. And if you get tricked, March is beautiful here. First part of April is glorious. But we're not done with frost. So if you get tempted to plant early, let's say first part of April, your tomatoes, highly likely they're going to be frost burned, frost tinged, killed. But if you wait till May, you're good. And then you're growing those things like crazy, the beans and stuff, they're growing in the summer. And then by about Halloween, it's pretty much over. I don't care what elevation you're at. It's over. Unless Phoenix, Tucson, that's desert gardening. It's totally different. Up here in God's country, it's pretty much done by Halloween. Then we start the cool season plants all over again. So you can easily harvest broccoli for Christmas dinner, very easily. For lettuce, fresh spinach for Thanksgiving. You can have that. You plant it now and you're good. Same with your herbs. Many of the herbs, I would say most of the herbs, except for maybe basil. What else? Cilantro are kind of frost sensitive. But all your others, the sage, you want fresh sage for your turkey dinner. Oh my goodness, it just melts in your mouth. Oregano, thyme. These are all things. Mint. These are all things that the flavor comes out even better. They have more oils in the herbs when it's cooler. When it's hot and it's July and August and it's 92 degrees out, yeah, the plants are growing, they're doing good, but they aren't as flavorful because they're perspiring so quickly that the oils inside the herbs get kind of muted. And so now all that flavor just comes bursting out of the foliage, out of the stems, out of that plant. And so it's a good time to plant your winter vegetables or fall cool season vegetables and herbs. We got a whole selection of this. You're going deep. If you're just growing tomatoes, probably no interest. You're kind of tired going, I can't pick anymore. I'm done. I'm going to take that cruise to the Panama Canal. I'm out of here. But if you're a true gardener, frequently you're having all 3 seasons. I just love fresh kale. I mean, we juice and use fresh kale right through winter. Plant it now. Kale, you'll be harvesting that arugula right through winter. There's certain plants that you'll just be harvesting. So you can plant those now. That seems unbelievable for you folks from the tropical areas, the Californias, the Phoenix, and that kind of stuff. But for others that are used to this, the Alaskas and the upper Midwest, you're going, yeah, I get it. I totally, that's what we used to do too. But I can't believe they keep going through winter. They do. They keep going. So as the squash fades, as the cucumbers, you pull them out. They're not going to produce anymore anyway. Freshen up the soil, plug some winter vegetables in, and you can keep this thing going. And it's kind of fun because Swiss chard, it's a beautiful plant. Many times I'll introduce that into my flower garden, my container gardens, because they're just a beautiful plant. Those stems of yellow and red coming through the flowers of pansies, violas, snapdragons. It's just beautiful. And I can go through and so I can harvest that later too. Again, we're big into health juicing, that kind of stuff. And so there's nothing better for your antioxidants coming out of fresh your greens. That is one of the healthiest things you can do. Anti-aging, all this kind of stuff. And they're so easy to do. And typically you pull out that tomato, it's taken up the whole garden. My goodness, how big can they get? You pull one of these things out and like the whole garden space comes alive. You go, wow, I can't believe this. I'd say the same thing. You could plant, if you free up some space, carrots, radishes, those beets. They love the cool. A little story that my grandkids, I'm noticed garden guy, and then I've got garden guy juniors. We got a couple of us. We love going out and just gardening. And so they came over last holidays. They're going, so go, Papa, let's go pick some things. I'm going, guys, it's winter. I don't have anything right now. And so, but let's go look. Went out there and where some beets were going, they're not going to have fun with pulling out some foliage. It's no good. So I went digging around, and sure enough, we found some potatoes in the ground still. I thought I'd harvested, thought I got them all, but there's still some there. And they were wowed. And beets, found some beets. So the root crops, this is December. It was cold. They found some beets. And they're going, wow, this is so cool. You are the man. I can't believe it. I'm going, that's just what I want. I want to share gardening with the next generation or 2 or 3 and inspire them to be outdoors, to eat fresh. It's not everything is just about fast food, but you can actually go pick things and use it and try figuring things out how to use it. Now we get this beet. What do we do with it? Well, guys, let's go figure that out. This will be fun. So that, and I tend to, I go through and I hide things out in the yard. I want to encourage them to be outdoors. And so I hide arrowheads and foreign coins and big keeper marbles and just magical things when you look at it and you go, oh, that is so neat. And then they'll spend hours out there flipping over in fact, it's to the point they've disheveled every rock. I'm going, guys, it's okay to be an archaeologist. Go looking for stuff. I love it. But when you lift up a rock, put it back where you got it from. Don't just tear up the dry wash and I got to go relay the thing. So be kind. I got to work afterwards to clean things up. If you want me to go hide more, my oldest grandson, he's 12. He goes, Pop, I think I got your number. I go, what's that, Chris? He goes, well, I think you're just hiding all that stuff out in the yard. It's not really arrowheads out there. I think you're actually burying them. Going, well, that may be. That may not be. I don't know. But if I am hiding those or putting those underneath rocks, I don't have to do it anymore. He goes, oh, no, keep doing it. It's really good. It's fun. You keep going. But I think I got your number. I'm going, well, You may or may not. We'll find out. You'll probably be 20 before I actually tell you anything. It'll be over a glass of mezcal or something. Oh wait, 21 before I do that. So anyways, they have a ball. We can share gardening, the passion of being outdoors, getting your hands dirty in the soil with the next generation. I think grandparents have a big responsibility that way. They can actually teach them how to garden, teach them traveling, culture, all this kind of stuff. So be right back. Got more in store for you, but got to take a break.
Autumn is the most beautiful time of the year in the mountains, and Watters Garden Center has the brightest trees.
We've collected 700 hardy trees, including maple, aspen, ash, and oak.
Each is ready to plant, so you can enjoy brilliant fall foliage in your yard.
Shop online at top10trees.com or visit us in Prescott.
Trees are brighter at Watters Garden Center in Prescott and online at top10trees.com.
We believe small business can win against impersonal box stores at Watters Garden Center. If you enjoy this show and would like to hear more, please subscribe to The Mountain Gardener wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And if you'd like even more garden tips, tricks, and helpful advice, please check out my website at wattersgardencenter.com for classes, videos, and more, or my online garden center at top10plants.com. Throughout the week, Lisa and I can be found here at Watters Garden Center in Prescott.
You've tuned in to The Mountain Gardener with local garden expert Ken Lane. Join him each week as he answers timely garden questions that are sure to make a difference in your gardens. Now welcome your host, Ken Lane.
Now, as you're cleaning up things that are maybe dormant or frost damaged, if they turn black, you've got your potato vine. It's beautiful, long, flowing, basically sweet potato variation. It's actually got a tuber underneath that you could harvest. You could eat it, but it's not very tasty, starchy. Ugh. Not like an actual potato. Grow potatoes if you want potatoes. But as they die back, you can pull that out of the ground and you can add some fresh color, especially closer to the house. This is where we call this in designer terms the oasis effect. So as we get close to the house, the back patios, your front main bay windows, you're looking out to the front driveway, your front patio, the doors, you're putting some color. You're making it beautiful. It takes more water, more gardening. It takes some touch to really keep it looking beautiful. And then as you feather out, as you go out further into the gardens, into the landscape, you become more and more native. So by the time you're out in the outer edges, you're to the hardy evergreens and scrub oak and manzanitas, that kind of stuff. So oasis gardening, especially this time of year, you can add some fresh color. Something when it's snowing out in January, you can sip your tea, eat that freshly baked cookie, look out your window and go, oh, gosh, Ken told me I could garden back in November, and look how pretty my violas are. Gosh, they just love the snow. And so you can be inspired. So I'm strategic. I don't replace everything in the garden, but I have some things I want to have some fresh kale in January, parsley. I want to have fresh Swiss chard in December. I want broccoli for Christmas dinner. We have that, and you can do it. So as you're opening up some garden space, especially around the containers, plug some flowers in, plug some beauty in, plug some fresh herbs in. They'll grow. Keep on growing. We're so mild. It's why we live here. It's 4-season, but it's the mildest 4-season you could possibly hope for. It's why we're out here. So even it's February. It's February 2nd, and it's just cold at night. But during the day, it's pretty nice. Yeah, you got to have a couple layers, but probably by the time you get done hiking that loop around the forest, you're taking a layer off because it's just so nice. So we get a few snow events for you new folks. Yeah, you should own a snow shovel. But you do not need a snow blower, not here. So it's just so nice. Usually if you just wait it out, it'll all melt by itself. Like last year was a little rough. That's where it was rough. What was that? Like March, first part of April. lots of snow, and I own a garden center. Our stuff is sold outdoors. We're outdoors for a living. That's what keeps me young, active, healthy. But that was we were just shoveling stuff. We go to work, shovel some snow, get it out of there. So when the gardeners do decide they're coming, we're ready to go. So it's also why we have greenhouses, to kind of keep the stuff, keep them protected, keep them looking super sharp, super good, while so that when the gardeners finally come, we've got them and they're glorious. And so you can garden year round here. It's not like, no, it can change. You're not planting tomatoes now, but you're putting spinach and lettuce and broccoli and cauliflower and chard and kale. All that stuff can go in, including flowers. So snapdragons, of violas and pansies, and Dusty Miller. Love Dusty Miller. This is beautiful silver plant. The javelina do not eat. Javelina don't eat snapdragons. They just don't bother them. They should. I think they've got a sap in them they just don't care for. And so they leave that alone. If you want more garden tips, tricks, and advice, go to my website, wattersgardencenter.com. And at the very top of the website, you'll see different icons, YouTube channel. We have daily YouTubes going up. So video, we've had over 1 million downloads. You see the podcast, you see a Facebook page, blog. Take advantage of it. We're here to help you throughout the year. Throughout the week, Lisa and I camp out here at Watters Garden Center. We love talking to fans of the show. Watters October companion plants that grow well together are blaze maples, burning bush, Arizona creeper, glamour kale, and spicy mum.
Watters Spicy Mums are best sellers for super long bloom times and local garden tough.
Spicy mums glow yellow with a halo of fiery orange around each daisy flower.
These big, bold perennials are perfectly shaped and add color in autumn when few flowers are in peak bloom, at just $9.
You'll find bright fall flowers here at Watters Garden Center in Prescott.
We believe we're the ones that can fill the world with sunshine at Watters Garden Center. If you want a more fruitful garden, increased success in your landscape that just feels better, then tune in every week to The Mountain Gardener. Years of tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts are guaranteed to make your gardens nicer than ever. Listen to this podcast or read Ken's weekly garden column by visiting wattersgardencenteraz.com. That's Watters with 2 T's, gardencenter.com. Thanks for tuning in.